Hi, second grade. Welcome back to class with me, Miss Emolyn Liden. I'm a teaching artist in the PACE program, and I'm here to bring classroom curriculum together with the arts. I'm so glad you could join me today. Let's begin. We are going to be talking about symmetrical and asymmetrical. We talked some about that last week with the balanced butterfly art project. Today, we're going to discuss asymmetrical, and then we're going to talk about what a mosaic is, because we are going to be creating or composing a mosaic today in this art lesson, where we use some symmetrical shapes and some asymmetrical shapes to compose that mosaic. Follow along as I read the definition of our vocabulary words today. Symmetrical, a type of balance in which the contents on either side of a center line are exactly or nearly the same. Composition, to create, form, or design something by arranging parts to create a unified whole. Asymmetrical, a type of visual balance in which the two sides of the composition are different, having two sides or halves that are not the same. And our art form for today, mosaic. What is a mosaic? It is artwork made by fitting together tiny pieces of colored glass or tiles, stones, paper or cardboard, or really any type of small pieces of material you could use to make a mosaic. I find asymmetrical to be easier to understand by relating it to symmetrical. So if we know that symmetrical is balanced, then we know that asymmetrical is when the compositions on either side are a little bit different. Asymmetrical shapes relate from one half to the other half, but they are not the same. They are not a mirror image. They are not identical. And they are different, okay? And now you understand what the line of symmetry is. It is that line that can be drawn between two halves of the shape. Sometimes the line of symmetry is vertical, which means it goes up and down. Behind me, all of these shapes have a vertical line of symmetry. I would like you to get a white piece of paper, and you can draw these shapes with me. So get a pencil and a white piece of paper. If you want to turn over a piece of paper and use a scrap piece, meaning it's been used once before and we can reuse the back, that works too. If you feel that you want to watch instead of draw, then you can watch and listen and observe as I draw. But if you're one of those kids who loves to draw and just can't wait to draw, then get a piece of paper and a pencil. We've identified that we have a vertical line of symmetry. What is this shape? It is half of our square. Let's draw this shape as a symmetrical shape. So take your pencil and go to the other line of symmetry. If we know on this side we want it to be symmetrical, what would we need to do to that shape to make it symmetrical? It's like a mirror image. Can you draw the exact same half of this square on the other line? Good. I hope you were able to match both sides and draw a equally sided square using that line of symmetry. Now, if we play around with our idea of asymmetrical, an asymmetrical shape, we know that is not going to be exactly the same. So let's draw something that looks like a square on the other side, but it is not the exact same. Remember, having two sides or halves that are not the same. So we can relate this shape. We could go out, but what if we went on a diagonal and we change the other half of that shape? Good. I hope you drew something that was a little bit different, making it an asymmetrical shape. Let's use our next shape. if we make it symmetrical, can you match the other side of the shape and try to make it a mirror image, like it was reflected and it is the same on both sides? It might be a little bit difficult, and that's okay. We just want to represent that we know, even if we might need to use our eraser and try a second time to make it match. Now, if we look to the other side of the page, can we draw this shape and make it asymmetrical? So it will relate to what we see on the left side of the line of symmetry, but it will be different. It can relate and be different. So, should we do curved shapes, just like what we see over here? That sounds good, because it will relate to this shape, but be a little bit different. So, let's make a curved shape on the top and a curved shape on the bottom. Now, it is not an exact half that is the same. If we folded this in half, would one side cover the other side? No. It would go out a little bit farther than the other side. So this is asymmetrical. Let's use our third picture, our third shape. So draw your zigzag lines on the left side of that line of symmetry. And now, because we're doing the symmetrical shape first, try to identically match the same shape on the other side of that line. So it's a small diagonal. We're just doing the best we can to match what we see and draw an identical shape on the other side. Now, if we folded this together, one side of that shape would completely cover the other side of that shape, and we would have that one half disappear. Now, let's draw the other one. Make your zigzag lines, and let's do this asymmetrically. It is a little bit different. So what if we go up instead of down? And then down instead of up? It relates, but it's a little bit different. Good job. Now, if you would like to draw the last one with me, nice and big, you may. Flip that piece of paper over, or find a new white piece of paper and a pencil, and we're going to actually color this one in with a good bold color. So get one crayon to color this in. Let's draw a symmetrical shape that has curves and might look like a flower or a leaf or even a tree if you put a stem on it. So our vertical line is our line of symmetry, so we want it to be balanced on both sides. We want it to be the same, like a reflection in the mirror. We want it to be as if the two halves were exactly the same. How did you do? And with this curve shape, let's make an asymmetrical shape. So it'll relate. Our eye might be drawn to it and say it looks like a flower, but it's going to be a little bit different on both sides. Let's draw an asymmetrical curved shape. So we can make maybe 3 petals on one side. And how would it make it different? We could make 4 curves on the right side. Good. Now, just for fun, let's put a circle, a very symmetrical circle in the middle of both of these shapes. And let's color them in. I have chosen yellow for the center. I often see yellow in the middle of flowers. Let's color that in. And the bottom one. Good. Adding color to the outside will make this flower come to life. I chose red. Let's color it in. we can see very clearly that the shape on top is symmetrical, meaning we tried to draw both sides of that shape exactly the same. And that the shape on the bottom is asymmetrical. It's still a flower, but it is not exactly the same on both sides. Now, let's talk about mosaics. What is a mosaic? Well, we know that it's tiny pieces of colored glass, tiles, stones, paper, or cardboard. Where have you seen a mosaic? Sometimes we see mosaics in very old buildings. What's the oldest building you've been in? Did you see a mosaic on the floor when you walked in? Did you see a mosaic on the walls where they created an image and they were using little pieces of tile to make that image? Have you seen a mosaic on a table? Sat down at the table and looked down, and there was a picture on the table of all kinds of little pieces of tile that were filled in with cement or mortar. We are going to create a mosaic today using some asymmetrical shapes and some symmetrical shapes. So you will need a piece of paper for your background and colored pieces of paper for the top of the mosaic, the tiny pieces of paper that we're going to use today. You will need a glue stick or glue, and you will need a pair of scissors. We are going to make this mosaic today by using a math problem. You've been learning to do addition and subtraction within 1,000. Today we are going to do one subtraction problem, and the answer to that problem, the new number that we get, is going to tell us how many of those shapes to cut. So it's kind of like a game. The answer to the math problem is what we're going to use to cut our new shapes, and then we're going to compose them onto a piece of paper and make a mosaic. So gather your art supplies and meet me at the art table. I hope you have a black piece of paper, and we are going to pick 3 colors of paper for each place value of our subtraction problem. I have chosen red, yellow, and blue. Hundreds, tens, and ones. Okay? We are going to do the subtraction problem. The answer is going to tell us how many shapes to cut from each color. So, what is 7 minus 3? 7 take away 3 in the ones place is 4. Good. What is 8 minus 0? 8 subtracting 0 is still 8. And in the hundreds place, what is 9 minus 1? 8. So instead of working with 884 pieces of paper, we are going to have one color for each place value. In this place, we have red. How many pieces of red do we want to cut? 4. Great. In this place, we have yellow, or whatever color you chose. How many pieces do you need to cut of that color? 8. In our hundreds place, we have our number 8, and we chose blue, or whatever color you chose. How many pieces of blue do we need? 8. We are going to cut 8 blues, 8 yellows, and 4 reds, and we are going to do 2 symmetrical shapes and 1 asymmetrical shape. You can choose a shape that you know is symmetrical and have your teacher or your parent check it for you, or you can go with my guideline. The first shape we're going to choose for our hundreds place will be a symmetrical shape of the circle. We can fold it and 1/2 disappears. So it is symmetrical. So let's do 8 circles. Okay? And I will put the letter 8 right there to remind you. And the next symmetrical shape will be in our tens place. And we are going to use the square. The square shape is symmetrical because one half will cover the other half. How many do we need? 8. Good. And I will put the number 8 there to remind you. The last number is in our ones place, and we are going to use an asymmetrical shape. It will not fold and cover the other half. If we try to fold it in half this way, it is slightly off. If we try to fold it in half this way, it only covers part of that triangle. Okay? The reason we're choosing the triangle is because you can quickly clip and cut all kinds of triangle shapes, and they don't have to be symmetrical, they don't have to be perfect. So our magic number of 884, we need 8 circles, 8 squares, and 4 triangles. So get your scissors and cut out all of these shapes. I will do it with you. You can start with which shape you like best. Remember to hold your scissors safely and you cut slowly. The triangle, remember, it's asymmetrical, which means it just needs 3 sides. So we can cut 4 of them. Any triangle that has 3 sides, cut 4 of them. 3 sides. And your last triangle. Good job. Moving to our color yellow, that was in our tens place, right? This number of 884 is inspiring our design. So for the mosaic, we need 8 squares. You can take your scissors and you can cut slowly along the line. This is a rectangle, and one way to help us make it into a square is we want the same height as we do the width. Okay? So we can take our pencil and we can measure and try to go over and create the same height as we have width. Good. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're using this shape to inspire our design. Great job. Now take your scissors and cut nice and slowly, and we're going to do 8 squares. And you can use one square to measure the other square. For instance, I know that this is a square and I want the matching size, so you can put one square on top of the other. Draw a line right beside the square. See that? And then cut your square. We need 8 squares, which means this we are not going to use today. And if you want to, you can put one on top of the other and cut 2 at a time. If you need help, ask someone for help. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Do you have 8 squares? 4 triangles and 8 circles. What was your third color? Mine was blue. Now one way, it doesn't have to be as big as this circle. This is an example. It is nice and big. This square, see how these are nice and small compared to that square, and these triangles are smaller compared to that triangle. So one way of making a circle is that you want a line of symmetry. So fold your paper. And now, take your scissors, and when you cut along the line of symmetry, and you cut a half circle, it helps you create a circle. And then all you have to do is take your scissors and cut a circle. Good. Once again, it does not have to be perfect. Another way of making circles is put down your paper. We need 7 more, correct? And draw 7 little circles. There you go. If you need someone to help draw them for you, pause the video or raise your hand. All right, second grade, we're almost ready to glue down our mosaic. Guide your scissors around the edge of that line and cut slowly. Turning the scissors and turning your paper. Good. And if you don't want to see the line, turn it over like a small coin. And you can go in to the next circle and cut around. You've been learning your scissors skills as you work with me. I hope it is easier and easier every time you practice using the scissors. Great job, second grade. We're almost there. Now, if you feel like this is in the way, you can cut it like that and you can get rid of it. Cutting a circle takes some skills, so you want to practice. Guide the scissors, turn the paper, and these circles can be small or big. It's okay. We just want 8. Keep going until you have 8. And remember, you can always cut that away if you want to get closer to your circle. And I'm going to cut all of that away so that I have a smaller piece of paper to work with. Two more. Last one. And we are going to compose our mosaic. So you'll need a piece of background paper. It can be black or white. Or really any color. If you don't have black or white, it's okay. You can choose yellow or green. I'm going to choose black. And we have our new number after we did our subtraction, 884. And that is 8 circles, 8 squares, and 4 triangles. All right, second grade, good job cutting. We are almost there. Now we put our background piece of paper down on our desk, and we're going to put our shapes onto this paper with our glue stick to make a mosaic. The last thing to do is to fold the paper, and we're going to give it 2 lines of symmetry. First will be the vertical line. Remember, it goes top to bottom. So we're going to take this side of our paper, match the corners, and press the fold down. This is going to create a line of symmetry in the middle of the paper. Then we're going to take the top half and fold it to the bottom half. Remember, when we go from the sky to the ground, that creates a horizontal line of symmetry. And press the fold flat. Now the reason we did that is because now we've got 4 parts of this paper, and we can separate our mosaic shapes around the page. Now, if we want to, we can play with them before we glue them. Remember how we had 8 circles? We can do that if we would like. This line of symmetry just shows us a different arrangement of where we can put our mosaic. Where would you like your 8 squares to go? Now the thing about mosaics is it's nice to put them very close. We can scoot in the other shapes. Does that work? Do you like that? It does not have to be exactly like mine. Good job. Now let's arrange our triangle, which did not have a line of symmetry, just by cutting the corners around. You can play like this, where you just take them all away and you put them down. Make one more arrangement of your mosaic. Put them wherever you want, and we are wanting the shapes to be close but not touching. And when you like your arrangement, you can start gluing down your shapes. It does not have to be balanced on both sides. In this setting, we're just looking for an arrangement of shapes that don't touch to make our mosaic. It does not have to be symmetrical like the balanced butterfly. And I need a little bit more room, so I'm going to put that there and put my triangle over here. How did you do? Okay, work on gluing your mosaic to the page. Working on gluing everything down by putting your glue stick against the shape, covering it all, and then putting it down in the empty space. I hope you liked learning a little bit more about mosaics today, and you can put this up on the wall with all of your friends' artwork and see them all side by side. Nice big pieces of paper, nice big color. Some shapes are symmetrical and some are asymmetrical, and maybe you could stop and look and pick out your friends' shapes and say, that one's symmetrical, that one's asymmetrical. We had so much fun working with colored paper today, working with scissors, and learning about symmetrical and asymmetrical shapes, and also mosaics and how to make one. I hope you are proud of your new mosaic, that you want to give it to somebody, show it to somebody, hang it on the wall, or just keep it in your folder and remind yourself that now you know how to make a mosaic. Once again, my name is Miss Emolyn Liden. I'm so glad you joined me this week. I will see you again soon, and as always, keep making art.